Please remember to like, subscribe, and never forget to ring that bell.
Seconds away from showtime. I love this part.
We're back! Amazing costumes, amazing performances, amazing reveals.
Everything is bigger. The audience, the talent, the voice.
It's crazy!
What is up, everyone? I'm Chris Knight, and you are watching The Real Review 3000 here with another episode of Unmasking the Masked Singer. In fact, the last one of this season. So here we go, guys. We got a lot to talk about and a very short amount of time to talk about it. Let's start off with who was voted off 2 weeks ago, or kind of 2 weeks ago, but it was Scarecrow and Sir Bugaboo. Really quick, let's go over this. Linda Blair sang Abracadabra and by the Steve Miller Band. Said she was the scariest contestant on The Masked Singer's ever seen. She's known as a Scream Queen, or possibly the Queen of Scream, and also one of the most violent and goriest parts possibly in cinema horror, because she was in The Exorcist, which was possibly going to be rated X because of some of the stuff that was in it. Kind of interesting there. She talks about she makes fans scream and critics crazy. I know a lot of people claim that she's not the greatest actress and all that, so maybe that's what the critics part was. She had to bend over backwards. I believe that's a part for an Academy Award. I believe that's a part of The Exorcist. She talks about turning heads, of course, another Exorcist reference. She's been on Broadway, but she also says she rescues animals, and she's rescued over 100. She does have the Linda Blair World Heart Foundation, which rescues abused animals. And then it said highly flammable, which I seem to remember in The Exorcist, they had the flame scene in the room, and she never rests, which I believe is another Exorcist clue. But hey, you know what? There you go. Sir Bugaboo is Ray Parker Jr. sang Devil with the Blue Dress On by Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. He said he's used to spooky sounds, which maybe the beginning of Ghostbusters is what that's a reference to. Talks about being thrown into with some of the most monstrous names in the industry, and he never dreamed that he'd be the one they'd call. The call, who you gonna call type thing, maybe a reference to Ghostbusters, but I think that might be talking about the fact that Huey Lewis and the News was originally supposed to do the Ghostbusters soundtrack. Or the song for the Ghostbusters, and then he got it. Maybe that's what that's a reference to. Also, maybe the fact that he had to have a legal fight with Huey Lewis and the News on that. Maybe, I'm not positive. He said his work has earned a place in pop culture history. I would assume that means Ghostbusters, because everybody knows that song. He said that they told you that he wasn't afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of no ghost. Maybe that's what that's referencing, but he's really afraid of the dark. I don't know if that's true. We also saw green slime in his clue. Now, those were those, and they went on. It was Sir Bugaboo who went against Snowstorm in the Battle Royale. Snowstorm won, went on to the finals, part one. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But it was kind of interesting because the Scarecrow said, I want to be unmasked first, and that kind of surprised everybody. Not unheard of necessarily, but I think she just wanted out of that costume, because you can tell when she's done, she's like anyways. Snowstorm went on, so it was Snowstorm, the Lambs, and the Harp going to the finals, which we kind of assumed that was kind of how it was going to go. And the Snowstorm, I believe, I'm trying to remember what she's saying, but they all had to sing the same song in the Battle Royale, because they all three had to do it. And Snowstorm was voted off. Not completely surprised by that, because of the way that they did it. But really interesting. We were correct. It was Nikki Glaser, so that's our third correct guess this year. Yay us. Anyways, but again, the cold-blooded, the whole thing about roasting and all of those things led to it being Nikki Glaser. Now, let's talk about who we think might actually be winning this year. We still think the Harp is Amber Riley, and we still think the Lambs are Wilson Phillips. I would love to see Wilson Phillips win this. I'm not positive that they're going to. So my want is for Wilson Phillips to win, but my guess is that Amber Riley will win. That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know if you think I'm right on the last two, and let me know who you think they are if you think I'm wrong. And then again, keep telling me what you think of this year's format. But with that said, we've got like 17 minutes or so before this show starts. So guys, thank you. I am Chris Knight. This has been the Real Review 3000, and I'm officially out of here.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and never forget to ring that bell. Follow Chris Knight and the Real Review 3000 on these platforms. For email and Patreon, see the description box below. To reach the Ego, use the Twitter handle @theego5150. We would like to thank the generous members of the Real Review 3000. Those members are JJ, aka Sithlord 3827, Anzo of Bigger Ford Entertainment, Yvette, Sean Stackhouse, Captain Trek, Jesse Ritchie, and Abraham Morales. Thank you for your support and donations that help us at the Real Review 3000 bring you, the viewer, better content. For information on how to become a member, click the join button below.